You know, daring to be great.
You would fight him.
Man, tell him to come up there.
He got to come to win 54.
He said I got a glass chin, so tell him to come and touch it.
Wow.
Man.
Gervonta Davis just obliterated Terence Crawford after Saudi billionaire Turki Al Sheikh decided to hand Crawford fat $25–30 million paychecks per fight. Because apparently, mediocrity pays well these days. Meanwhile, Tank didn't even get a seat at the Ring Magazine Awards. But don't worry, Davis didn't sit quietly like a good little boy. Oh no, he lit up Crawford and his crew of Saudi sellouts, calling them out for kissing ass to cash those checks while performing in glorified exhibition matches. Tank even dragged Turki himself, saying the guy knows as much about boxing as Crawford knows about humility. And let's be clear, while Crawford is busy hyping up small crowds in Riyadh, Tank is packing American arenas like the real star he is. Davis isn't just exposing hypocrisy, he's shredding Crawford's laughable greatness to pieces, and it's absolutely glorious.
These fighters now, like, they trash. Yeah, they trash. I think back in the day, fighters was better than the fighters today.
Let's start with the Ring Magazine Awards debacle. This posh event at London's Old Royal Naval College had every big name under the sun. Canelo, Usyk, Devin Haney, you name it. But Tank snubbed. And instead of throwing a pity party, Davis unleashed the truth on Instagram. He shredded Eddie Hearn, calling him a little rat, and roasted Turki Al Sheikh, the event's mastermind, accusing them of playing politics instead of respecting the sport. Oh, and Davis didn't stop there. He took aim at the entire circus of fighters selling out to Saudi Arabia, basically saying, "Keep your Riyadh riches. I'll stick to packing arenas in America."
I've been hearing some rumblings about Terence Crawford versus Tank Davis. And when I think about this fight, I am getting Errol Spence versus Mikey Garcia vibes.
Meanwhile, Crawford, because he can't resist being the center of attention, chimed in like the smug little commentator nobody asked for. He tweeted something along the lines of, "I see someone's mad they weren't invited." When your best clapback is as weak as your pay-per-view numbers, maybe sit this one out. But no, Crawford had to keep going, reminding everyone of his two-time undisputed champion status, as if Tank hadn't been demolishing his own division with far more flair and fewer speeches.
Obviously, all the fans want to see you and Tank in a ring this year. Do you think Turki Al Sheikh's the man to make that?
Yeah, I think that that's going to be a tremendous fight. I think he's saving boxing, so once Tank gets with him, and I think the fight's going to happen.
And can we talk about Crawford's so-called wisdom on greatness? He actually had the nerve to say Tank should step up if he wants to be great. Step up? Crawford, my guy, you're barely stepping out of your comfort zone. Sure, you've conquered multiple weight classes, but let's not pretend it was some heroic gauntlet of impossible opponents. Tank's staying in his lane, dominating his division with knockout after knockout, while Crawford's out here cherry-picking paths to glory and acting like the second coming of Ali.
Hear somebody like Tank say, 147, I knock Bud out.
Well, he just talking.
Mm-hmm.
You know, he got the confidence in himself that he believed that he can do that because he's been knocking all these fighters out that he's been in the ring with.
Crawford's delusions of superiority fall apart the moment you compare star power. Tank's highlight reels alone could sell out arenas. Crawford's technical prowess? Great for the purists, but not exactly setting the world on fire. The guy fights like a textbook, while Tank fights like a blockbuster action film. And you know what gets people watching? Blockbusters, not lectures on boxing fundamentals. But let's not stop there. Crawford's hypocrisy deserves its own spotlight. He's sitting cozy at 147 Elms, throwing shade at Tank for not stepping up. But has he ever considered stepping down? Of course not. Why? Because he knows Tank would steamroll through him in a fair fight. Crawford's entire playbook relies on staying just out of reach, barking from a safe distance, while Tank keeps delivering where it counts, in the ring, in the crowd, and on the scoreboard.
How far away are we from getting Bud Crawford and Tank Davis? And would weight be an issue there, or would that just be a matter of you waiting for him to be ready for you?
Yeah, no, Tank is at a lower weight class than me. He's at 135, I'm at 147. That's 2 weight classes apart.
So he would have to come up.
Yeah, because I wouldn't never.
You can't get that low.
So that's not gonna happen, because I saw people talking about it. You don't think that'll?
This isn't about who's the better boxer. It's about Crawford's fragile ego being bruised by Tank's meteoric rise. Tank doesn't need to parade his stats because his punches do the talking. Meanwhile, Crawford's out here desperately reminding everyone of his accolades, as if legacy is something you announce instead of earn. Terence Crawford struts around like he's the undisputed king of boxing. But let's cut through the hype. Sure, he's the first fighter to unify 2 divisions, and his TKO over Errol Spence Jr. was impressive, for about 5 minutes. The guy is out here chasing legacy like it's a scavenger hunt, while Gervonta Davis is out there actually building his. Crawford's resume might be dripping with stats, but let's not kid ourselves. It's padded with names that even hardcore fans have to Google. Meanwhile, Tank is handing out knockouts like party favors, giving fans what they really came to see: raw, explosive action.
One thing I can say about Tank is he's smart. He can box.
Yes.
And he explosive. You know what I mean? But I'm saying skill-wise.
Crawford loves to pat himself on the back for being bold. This guy's out here talking about fighting Canelo Alvarez at 168 pounds, jumping up 3 weight classes like he's on a mission to redefine arrogance. Bold? More like desperate. What's the point of moving up to face someone you know will boost your paycheck and your ego, but not your credibility? Meanwhile, Tank doesn't need to chase gimmicks to stay relevant. He's ruling the lightweight division with an iron fist, serving highlight reel KOs, and pulling massive crowds without ever having to leave his weight class. As he said, "Y'all think he's chasing greatness? He's not. That's what he have to do to make decent money, boys." And let's talk about Tank's little jab about fighting Crawford after Spence. Did Tank retract it because he's scared? Please. He backed off because he knows better than to waste time on a guy who needs to wave his resume around to stay in the news. Crawford might be proud of beating 14 champions across 4 weight classes. But let's be real, those champions don't exactly scream immortality. Tank's victories, on the other hand, are unforgettable. He doesn't just beat opponents, he obliterates them. Crawford's stats are like a boring PowerPoint presentation. Tank is the fireworks show.
What are your thoughts on Gervonta Davis saying that he's gonna walk away from boxing after 2025?
Look, I don't blame him. I'll tell you that much. I don't blame him, man. This sport ain't no joke.
If the fire not there, you gotta walk.
Crawford's obsession with money and politics is where he really loses the plot. Tank put it perfectly when he called out the Saudi cash chasers for kissing ass. And guess who fits that description to a T? That's right, Crawford. He's the poster boy for selling out, grinning ear to ear as Turki Alalshik's millions pad his bank account. Crawford loves to defend Turkey's investments, acting like they're for the good of boxing. Spoiler alert, they're not. It's all about control and branding, not about elevating the sport. And Crawford? He's just another player in their game, pretending it's all noble. Tank didn't stop there. He dropped a bomb about Al Heyman, saying, "At least Turkey picks up calls." Translation? Boxing's politics are rotten, and Crawford is out here defending the same system that keeps the sport stuck in the mud. Imagine Crawford trying to turn that into a win. Tank doesn't need calls or Saudi checks to stay afloat. He's doing just fine filling arenas and headlining fights that people actually care about. And yeah, Crawford might be pocketing $25 million per fight, but let's not act like that buys him a free pass to lecture Tank about greatness.
They met at a catch weight of 137 pounds. So what are we talking about here? Gervonta Tank Davis, which would be the A side in this situation, would never move up to 147 pounds and fight Terence Bud Crawford, the legendary.
Crawford's defense of Turkey is laughable too. He's out here bragging about fights being hosted in LA, London, and Riyadh like that's some kind of game changer. Newsflash, fans don't care about exotic venues, they care about good fights. Tank's criticism wasn't just about the money, it was about exposing the pandering. Crawford, on the other hand, is practically Turkey's PR rep, singing his praises at every turn while cashing those bloated paychecks. It's embarrassing.
Are you retiring?
What changed? What made this shit trash, garbage?
If you got the opportunity to sign a prospect for GTD, who?
This rivalry isn't just about boxing skills, it's about principles. Crawford acts like he's the guy chasing history, but let's not forget that his legacy is built on strategic matchmaking and safe bets. Tank, on the other hand, is the real deal. He's dominating his division, speaking out against the nonsense that's holding boxing back, and giving fans the drama, excitement, and authenticity they deserve. Crawford might be daydreaming about super middleweight showdowns, but Tank is staying focused on being remembered as the fighter who redefined the sport. Let's address the fantasy matchup talk. Some so-called experts like Roy Jones Jr. think a Crawford versus Tank fight at a catchweight would be epic. Let me save you the speculation. It wouldn't. Crawford might have versatility and technical skills, but one clean shot from Tank and that debate is over. While Crawford is busy talking about moving up to fight Canelo, Tank is making every fight count, winning hearts and delivering unforgettable moments. The idea of Tank retiring by 2025 might seem premature, but let's be honest, he's already done more for the sport than Crawford ever will. This rivalry isn't just a clash of fighters, it's a clash of ideals. Crawford can keep chasing headlines and cash grabs, but Tank is the embodiment of greatness, and no amount of Saudi money or padded stats can change that.